all for your patience. Thank you all for your patience. Can you hear me? Can you see me? If you're on with us, want to see you drop some comments. We are live. We are live. Hi, Roma. Hola, prima. How you doing? Beautiful. Can you see and hear me good? Yes. Welcome. How are we doing? Thank y'all for joining in on Facebook and on Instagram. I love y'all. Thank you for your patience. We logged on a few minutes late, but we're right here. We want to make sure that our sound was really good. Shout out to the iRant Network for hosting us on this day. Hi, Prima. Love you. Thank y'all for being here, and thank you for your patience. We're going to get this started. Yes. I'm nervous, y'all, but we're going to keep it authentic and live. For those of you who are here, my name is Ekiwa Asamoto. You can call me Eki or Eki's Famous. I am creative director of Your Queens, and I have some amazing people on here today. Some of my queens, and we have a special guest coming on. I think we got a little introduction video to share with you all, and then we're going to meet everyone. But Your Queens, so check out the video. So as I'm talking Your Queens, what we do is we teach about African royalty through storytelling, song, and dance. We are the first, not the second, not the third, the first ancient African royal entertainment company in which we teach storytelling, song, and dance. We evaluate, educate, and express the dynamic lineage of African kings and queens, like Queen Amina, Goddess Isis, King Tut, Queen Nzinga, and just a way for all of us to show that we come from royalty. And we'll share some more, but I want y'all to meet my guests or meet my team and our guests. So if they can come on. Hey, y'all look cute. What's up? So I'm going to have Shannon Nia Alamore jump on first. Tell them who you are. What's up, beautiful people? Hey, Timmy. Tell them who you are, your name, and share.
Hi, beautiful people. It is so good to be here with you all. This is super dope. I'm like fangirling over the production, the quality, the essence. So anyway, my name is Shannon Nia Alamar, and I am a elementary science teacher. I teach kindergarten, first, and second grade science at a charter school in the Bronx. And in Your Queens, I play Queen Nefertiti. And I am also Your Queen's web mistress, and I am an advisor on the board of directors because we are a nonprofit organization. So that is who I am.
Awesome. And then we have one of our new queens, Wendy, who is on here. So I'm going to let her tell a lot, whatever you want to share about yourself, Queen. Go for it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Wendy. I am an actress, I'm a dancer, I DJ. As far as the school system is concerned, I worked for Lexington School for the Deaf. I was a assistant dance teacher there, had an amazing time from 2015 all the way up into 2018. And just loving life and living la vida loca.
I love it. That made me Yes. Next up, we have one of my favorite people in the world, McQuavon Mills, who I've known since she was about 16 years old. So we've been on this journey for way over 10 years, about 13 years. She's been around since Eki's Famous, and now joining I wouldn't say now joining. She's been throughout the whole journey from Eki's Famous to Your Queens, McQuavon Mills. She's actually streaming from Mississippi. We love you. We thank you for being here. If you can share with us really quickly.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. I am here in Mississippi. I'm teaching. This is my 5th year teaching and my first year at a charter school. So I hope everyone enjoys. Like Miss Eki says, she has been a mentor to me since I was actually 15 years old. And we've been rocking out ever since. So thank you.
Sweet. So I have two special guests, and I didn't mention earlier, the reason why you guys are here, this is Behind the Mic. It is a first episode or series of a 10 conversation that we're going to have throughout from November 16 all the way to December 16, leading up to a Kwanzaa celebration. I spoke to my brother Logic, and he was like, I have this platform. You guys jump on it, maybe about a month or two ago. And I was like, okay. And this is why we are here. So we have 10 amazing topics dealing with. Today is education in New York City. Hey, Cookie, it's education in New York City. Tomorrow we're doing rites of passage. Then we're having topics on Black love, on why we call ourselves kings and queens. What does that mean? We're talking about therapy. We're talking about childhood trauma. We're talking about Kwanzaa principles. And on this first day, we are launching. So this is our first time live on YouTube and Facebook, making history. Yeah, we love you guys for being here. Please feel free. I love that you guys are. Peace, Carol. Good evening. Thank you for being here. I love that you guys are on here. Thank you for commenting. The topic today is education in New York. And I have my beautiful cousin Bola, who, when I think of Bola, I think you know what I'm going to say. I just kind of think of Nigeria, where she was humbly bossing us around. We were doing like Christmas show of Christ, and I was always Mary with the baby, and I was like, sure. So I used to wear costumes. She had us wear costumes. We got pictures, y'all. I wish I would have shown it. Hi, Regina. So we got costumes, and Bola, you know I love you, and you've been around all my life. And also, just even as soon as your queen started, you have been there just to support us, been at events, just privately just saying, here, Eki, I'm going to donate this to you guys. And we love you. We appreciate everything that you're doing. I want to read a little bit about your bio, and then I'm going to have you speak as well. Okay. So DrBola Disu, instructional coach and consultant, is passionate about engaging school communities in professional development that focus on a student-centered approach to academic achievement. With over 20 years experience, DrBola Disu has worked in New York as a classroom teacher, reading specialist, instructional coach, and assistant principal. She is currently working as an educational consultant throughout the United States and the U.S. Virgin Islands. DrBola, take it. Look at the intro.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that intro. You said it all. I am a coach. I'm a presenter. I just love what I do to support teachers and students and families. So I've done this for a while. I travel, for work. And one of the things that I see is that, and I always say this, is that if we want the students to be successful, all the adults in their lives have to come together and cooperate in order for them to achieve more. So today, I hope we address some of that, and I know we will. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful discussion.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, you went right in, and I'm here for it.
Yes.
And y'all see why I picked this amazing, amazing queen. Peace to all 5 gorgeous women. Oh, thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Virginia Celine. We appreciate you for tuning in. So the topic today is education in New York City. And I think this was such a great topic to start with, especially during these times, especially during COVID, especially during racial uprising. I'm going to just go right in and say, I was reflecting. Right now, I work in the school system as a teacher. I'm working with special needs kids. It's amazing. I'm learning now. I've been a teacher for over 13 years. I was a teaching artist first, now getting into this classroom as opposed to the dance studio. Even though dance is also extremely important. The arts is also extremely, if not very, very important, should be on the top of in the public school system. But today, I reflected while I was teaching my students. They're 5th graders and 6th graders, a small group of kids. Some are remote and some are in. I have 4 in the classroom, and I can see can I just keep it real? The sadness in their faces. I can see I don't like that word, but I can see the sadness in their faces, just sitting there like, oh, I got to jump on class again. Kind of this. So I'm always fine. Like, you can do it. You know, you can do it. Don't worry. All right, we're going to do this now. And now I'm going to give you 10 minutes of fun time, you know, just trying to find that balance. And what is so interesting with this group of kids, or in general, what I'm finding is, and it's not their fault, they are below reading level. Their math grades are low. And one of my students, he's learning fractions, but he's not ready for fractions. But however, I believe that they're trying to go follow their protocol. You have to teach this grade, this level, teach this grade, that level. And I'm like, no, he actually needs to go back and do his timetables first. He's not grasping this. And I literally tell the other teachers, he's not grasping this. How do we get to that place? So that was some of my observation this past couple of weeks, going back into the school system and experiencing that. But I find that what works, like you said earlier, Bola, we have to come together and be real about that.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But before we even jump in that, I'm excited, nerves are going and all that good stuff. But I really wanted you all, we usually with your queens, we've been around for 5 years. Hello. Hi, Miss Ravioli. Peace and blessings. Thank you for joining us. Yes, thank you for making history with us today. Thank you so much. So with your queens, we've been around 5 years. And feel free, ladies, to jump in, right? We've been around 5 years. And through the 5 years, we have participated and performed and done workshops and dance classes, also different panel discussions. We've performed for birthday parties, 50-year-old birthday party, 1-year-old birthday party, 7-year-old birthday party, daycares, especially busy during Black History, Women's History Month. I can't count how many schools we've performed in New York City in the past 5 years. We're so thankful for that. We're still growing. So when I say performance, literally, as I mentioned earlier, we dress up like African queens. And I started this company because working in the school system, especially during Black History and Women's History, I always say nothing wrong with the Malcolm X and the Martin Luther King and Ida B. Wells, great, but also teaching that these kings and queens, they were real kings and queens ruling the world with their, also not only kings and queens, they were nurses, healers, doctors, lawyers, architects, and they built this economy together. And just showed, and so of course, this is before we were enslaved, right? I don't like to say the word slavery. We were enslaved. And I started this company with a group of friends of mine, Mickey, who's been there since the very beginning, and Shannon, who's been there literally almost like maybe like months before we started. And I love their passion for it. And it's not only about dressing up and garb, but it's literally, we want our kids and adults to see ourselves, right? As opposed to what we see on the media, which everything is great, but it's really, especially African-American, Black and brown children and adults. I say adults because we've seen life change in adults. We've had adults come to us and cry. So I always say tears are healing. So they already see that they're able to connect to who they are when they see this. So the garb, we do storytelling, song and dance. And in the education system, my experience was I was tired of seeing kids look sad and having a low self-esteem or this identity. Again, I'm such a very like open person, so nothing wrong with, you know, they wouldn't want to embrace their natural hair. And it was like, look, I'm gonna wear I had locks. I just recently cut them 2 years ago. I want to grow out my fro, so check maybe in about another year or so you'll see it from I wear my hair in so many different styles and I leave it natural. Since I was 6, I've always been natural almost all my life, but especially I transitioned fully when I was 16. And I'm going to dress in African garb. I'm going to show powerful words. Like we have t-shirts and sweaters. We'll talk about that one later. But it's just really being a part, like Bola say, of the puzzle of people who want to make the world a better place. And one of our part is starting in the public school system. But so I wanted to just share that. Hey, Tim Timmers. One of our queens is on here that plays Goddess Isis. Check her out, Timmy La Rota. Yes, I'm shouting you out. Check her out on her Instagram, Timmy La. She actually has an amazing journey where she needs support. She's a healer, y'all. So you can go and visit her and get healing work. So definitely Look up Timmy LaRode. She's an amazing woman. On her website, on her Instagram, Timmy La. Check out her video. Support her journey. Okay, let me get back. We start Your Queens with our meeting. We meet once a month because we take it very serious, and we meet to pray together. We meet to cry together. We meet to laugh together. We meet to meet for an event or something that we're working on every single month for the past 5 years. And one thing that we do is we open up the space in a prayer. So we shared that earlier before we jumped on. So that's what kind of took some of a little technical, but we wanted to make sure the atmosphere was clear before we jumped on. And we usually share one word of how we're feeling today. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to have Queen Shannon jump on. Let us know how your day, how you feeling, and drop some words. And you guys, the audience as well, feel free to drop some positive words in the comments. Tell you how you're doing, how you feeling. And if it's not positive, we're going to send you some love and light. That's fine. Sometimes you may feel angry, frustrated. Those are real feelings. But we want to make that such a safe space for you all to share.
All right, y'all. I'm back. So today for me was good. I'm like trying to find other words, but it was really good. And just hearing Miss Eki speak about some of the things that we do in our Your Queens tribe and community, we're really, really big on affirmations, as she mentioned. So one thing that I've been doing with my students in my reading room, so I teach science, but we also do reading rooms with some of the other scholars in our school. And I have them do an affirmation every day. And today it just warmed my heart that in the beginning, when I first introduced it, they were kind of like, what is this? What is she talking about? Like, what is these? Why is she making us read this? This is silly. And now I'm like, okay, who's going to read the affirmation for us? And they're all like, I want to read it. I want to read it. So that really, really, really brightened my day today. And another little background point about me is I am a first-year teacher, and I am clearly surrounded by these experienced educators. And for me, just being able to live in that every day, it was something that I really feel like I manifested, and all of these women helped push me into this realm. Education is so important to me. So my word is just elated. Like, I was just elated today. Anytime my scholars read the affirmation, anytime I teach them something the day before and they remember it the next day, that is my victory, y'all. Like, anytime that happens, no matter how big or how small the content is, I just feel those victorious moments. And this is my whole reason why I wanted to come into education and inspire kids, not only through content of whatever I'm teaching them, but also those moments when I could drop in little affirmations and I see your hair looks good, or I have braids underneath this head wrap. And I know one of my scholars, she recently got her hair braided. She was like, Miss Alama, I look like you. And I almost bursted out into tears. I almost burst into tears every day. But I really just love being an educator. So my word for today is elated. And I also sprinkle in inspired, because my students always inspire me to just go above and beyond each and every day.
That was beautiful. Shout out to Dawnese. He said, love her power of affirmation. Yes. Yes. Nefertiti just had to comment. Love your hair, Queen Bee. Nefertiti, I'm shouting you out. That's one of my great friends. She and I went to Nigeria together in 2011 on a missionary trip. She's an amazing actress, a beautiful mom. Shout out to her son, Stan, who just celebrated his 7th birthday yesterday. I love y'all. We call each other Queen Bee, not for the bee that you think. It's a billionaire. So if I call you Queen Bee or King Bee, you know what's up. Love you. Excellent. Wendy, how's your day?
Hey everybody. My day was a little different today, but overall it was good. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this time. I was just actually reflecting on that a few nights ago. I just realized that this year I've gotten a lot more rest than I have in the past, whereas before, like, just running here and there and just, you know, as devastating as a pandemic is, I find that there's still like a silver lining of blessings that are like along the way. And I've been grabbing them, man. Like I look at my life this year compared to last year, and it's like, man, I've actually gotten a lot more rest this year. I'm able to cook and not eat out as much. You know, it's like pointing those little things that I just didn't have time for before. It's kind of caused me to refocus and be like, okay, so why was I living that lifestyle before? Why wasn't I not able to take care of myself as much as I could have? You know, it was like a basic thing of just getting enough rest. Like that's pretty basic. You know, if you can't sleep because you're trying to earn money, like that's a problem. And so I feel like this time has just been a really good time of refocusing and reflecting. So that's why I'm like, hey, even if it's a rocky day, it's still a good day, because there's blessings. Like I'm able to make time for things that I didn't have time for beforehand. And it's just asking why was that not a priority beforehand? So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for everything that's happened. Not for the downloads and all of those things, but the lessons that I've learned. I completely understand Miss Shannon with her kids. Like I said, I worked in a school a few years ago, and that was always a highlight when you teach a kid something and to see them get it, and you're like, that's it. I just want to briefly talk about my time at Lexington.
Go.
Oh, thank you. So Lexington's a deaf school. Prior to coming to Lexington, I know very little sign language. I didn't know a lot of sign language at all. And so my fear, once I had found out that I had gotten a job to be a dance teacher, a dance assistant, I was just like, oh man, these kids are going to hate me. They're going to be like, like I had so much anxiety. I showed up the next day, and when I tell you, these kids were the most welcoming, loving, like I have not been shown that type of love, like these kids. And I work with a most amazing lady. Like she was so supportive. And I felt like as I was teaching or being the teaching assistant, like I was also the student at the same time. Mm-hmm. The whole world was open. Not only was I learning their language, but I was also learning like how they learn. And then I also learned like just basic principles, how to be nice, how to be a human, like how to be respectful. You know, someone steps on someone else's foot, they're upset. Okay, say you're sorry. There's like, well, why? And, it's just like very basic things that I feel like as we get older as adults, we tend to forget. I think, and I might be going too far ahead, but like, I feel like as general, like, even with this discussion about the school district, I feel like when you have a mass anything, when it comes to mass education, mass transportation, mass anything, I don't always agree with it, because I feel like you can't treat an individual as a group. And when you come into like a mass education system, especially if it's a system, humans aren't really going to work, but that's later on. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time in Lexington. Lexington was great. That's not saying anything bad about Lexington. Lexington was wonderful. But yeah, I'm grateful. I'm good. Sorry, that was a lot, but I'm happy.
No, it's fine. I love that you were saying that about you when you said about being just learning basic human things, being nice. It took me back to, I worked at a Second Chance High School in 2017, 2018. And I remember, these are high school students, y'all, high school. They're in Second Chance. So meaning some of them were 21-year-old. Okay, life. Nefertiti says so true. And I saw early, I think it was Amanda, she was agreeing to you, like life. Life has this thing. But even teaching about just nice basic things, I remember telling a student, like, let's say his name was David. Yes, he was Tonya Madison. Thank you. And I said, David, so there's about maybe 7 girls in the class and about 3 boys. So I'm like, David, pull the chair out. No, I got to do that. Yeah, I got to do. And then the girl just quickly does it. And again, not his fault. What happened? I always say, what did we do that allowed that to happen? That he doesn't know to simple, nice thing as pull out a chair or carry the table. Why are the girls carrying the table? right? Does that go in line with what you were saying?
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I feel like there's so many different narratives. I'm not from here. I'm from Alabama. So it's a different type of culture down there. Here, I feel like the kids are bombarded with so many different messages. Well, David doesn't have to pull out a chair for a girl. A girl can pull out her own chair. And so like there's so many other things. Well, like what's wrong if will she pull out the chair for David? And like there's so many different layers. And
there's so many layers.
And it's just like, okay, I think it comes down to the why. That's just basic. And then, but that's I feel like, yeah, from my experience here from New York, I just feel like there's so many different messages as, kids grow throughout the system. And it's just like, okay, so which message is okay to accept? Which messages are okay to just not accept? And yeah. Because they're a blank slate, really, when they come to school. It's up to the adults to teach certain messages.
Thank you for sharing. I would thank you guys for your patience. I know sometimes there can be technical difficulties. Y'all know how this live goes. So we're flowing through, but I feel like everything is going clear. We can hear us well. Mickey, will you be able to share how your day was and give us a word for the space and to our audience?
Yes, so hopefully everyone can hear me. I've been trying to navigate the system. I almost feel like a teacher. I was gonna be like, can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? My day has been very reflective. It started pretty decent. I'm trying to teach my kids about annotation, so color coding, how to pull information from the text. I'm an ELA teacher, so that has been fun. Overall, I would say as a product of the New York City public school system, it could always be better. So I hope when we get into this dialogue, I can just share my experience and my highs and my glows.
Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. We heard you good. Yeah. And last but not least, our special guest, Dr. Bola. How was your day? And what one word can you give for this space? I think you're muted. No worries. Go ahead.
Sorry. I found that like my day was very productive, and I find that I'm very productive at 3 a.m. in the morning. So I got up today at 3 a.m. and I got everything that I needed to get done on a project, and I feel wonderful. So because I know that, I'll do that again tomorrow. But now that I have a flow of things, and I know when my peak hours are, I do my best work at that time. But then I give myself an opportunity to rest. So as Miss Wendy had mentioned, it's very good to know when it's time to just shut down and be okay with that. And that's something that I had to be okay with. And so now that I know when I'm productive and know when to rest, I'm at my best. And so I would just advise everyone to try to do the same.
100%. Yeah. Wow, 3 o'clock in the morning. That is amazing. Yeah. I'm always amazed that when I get up at 6, I get so much done between like 6 and noon. Checklist, but 3 o'clock I can get 2 days of work done. Wow.
Yeah.
Coleman Madison is saying it's a conversation that we parents should have with our children in order to gather information on the direction in which his and her values are being developed. Very, very well said. It's funny, like the older I got, the more I now understood the greatness and benefits of having homeschool, understanding why some parents choose. And again, everybody has their choice. Again, with the education system in New York, there's so many great things about it because they're great teachers. I love seeing a Black principal in the building, the teachers in the building. So there's many positives. It's good. There's some shady things. There's some not nice things. And I think what all of us are educators, we are there. I'll say for myself, I'm there. I found that recently, although I've been doing it for a while, that my purpose, this is my form of protest, is to give the kids love and light. It's to always, I have a student today, he has this thing where he goes, I can't do it. But I think it's just such a natural tongue of his. I don't know who's telling him he can't. Y'all, I'm getting upset. I don't know who's telling these kids that they can't do it. What is going on? And what's so weird, he's so brilliant. Like we were working on because some of the kids, they're having a hard time even reading and writing in that grade, in the 5th grade. So I'm like, after they go live with their teachers, because I'm in the homeroom with them, after they go live with the teachers and they're doing their reading and writing and ELA and science, we go right back into like spelling. And I put it right on the board. Like, okay, so, and it's a fun puzzle where they'll spell the word read or empowerment or something like that. And they have to kind of plug it in. They're like, I go next. So they have fun with that. But once I tell him he can do it, I'm like, you got this. What do you mean you can't do it? I'll tell him, I'm going to walk away and sit down. And then he comes back. Look, Miss Eki, I did it. I wrote it down. And I'm like, okay, so is that part of affirming for him that he can do it? That I'm like, do you know that you're going to be an amazing miseducation of our children? Yes. Now, do you know that you're going to be amazing man when you grow up? Like, wait till the world see who you are. You better get this math work done. And it kind of gives him that confidence. So, which is really, really a cool balance. But I wanted to know, we do have a few questions. We have one main question I would love. It's not about guidance, not control. It's about guidance, not, I had to sit on that. It's about guidance, not control. Will anybody want to jump in before we get into the question? Anything in your mind that you want to share?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention, because I was just listening to what you were saying, Eki, about affirming the student. Think about us, right? Sometimes we need someone to believe in us before we even believe in ourselves. And so I think that as adults, we need to think about that. Like, what are some of the things that we like to hear, right? And then we should share that same sentiment to our students. Students will only rise to the level that we set those expectations, and the expectations do not have to be punitive at all. I do agree with meeting students where they are, but I think that sometimes even with that, you limit them, right? Because if you have that self-fulfilling prophecy within yourself to say, well, you know what, they're not going to get any further than here, so I'm going to keep them here, then you do them a disservice. But if you keep working with them and let them know that they can achieve more, then they will rise to it. So I think that we just need to allow them to grow and to be themselves and to show what they know with confidence, and they will get there. I say this also because I was a reading specialist myself, and I worked with students who struggled with reading and writing, with literacy and communication. And a lot of times teachers would come to me, I work with those kids in small groups and, pull them out of their classrooms. And the teachers would come back to me and say, wow, these kids are doing so wonderful in your class. And I said, a lot of times it's their confidence that needs to be built. It's not that they don't know, but they need you to believe in them, that they can do this. And you have to also work with their families, with their parents, because sometimes parents too have that anxiety that, maybe my child doesn't know and my child is struggling. What can I do? And they need help themselves. So you have to go beyond yourself. You've got to, search within yourself and say, what do I want to see for these students? And then get them there because they want to be there. So yeah, I wholeheartedly believe, what you just said, you have to affirm them. And this is daily.
That part.
Daily.
That part.
Okay. Daily.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bola, you are so inspiring. Just the work that you're doing. Y'all, seriously, check out DrBola Disu. Hit her up. I saw, my mom was on there. Miss Tonya Madison says, yes. My mom says she's so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's He had a comment as well. He's afraid that if he's too smart, the other kids will say that he's acting, Jeffrey Monroe.
That's true.
Woo! And it's so funny. Like when I affirm him, he kind of looks at me like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, you want to go for a walk? Because again, you know, there's what's another word instead of saying special needs kids? They're really, really bright, very intelligent children. You know, so we have to walk the hallway because his energy. But it's just I'm like, that's because you're just so bright. You're so live.
And I think that we have to normalize. I think we need to normalize being smart. Yeah. And I think that I think that students also need to see adults, educators who are smart and walking in their brilliance who look like them.
Yeah.
I remember when I first worked at a school in Queens, and I was one of they had a lot of Caucasian teachers, and I was one of the first few that he just kind of brought in all at one time. Was this a whole bunch of us? I know they probably thought, wow, where did he bring all these people from, right? The principal, right? They thought that we all came on a plant. I don't want to even go there, okay? But anyway, I remember a student saying, and the student was in first grade, a little girl saying, oh, wow, she looks like me. And I thought, whoa. Because I'm telling you, the whole school was like 99% before we came Caucasian. So they didn't see anyone who looked like them. So I think that the more students see a lot of us walking in our brilliance, men and women of color, then it becomes normalized and not something that's strange or foreign.
Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, Queens. Good evening. Shahira, Ms. Johnson, peace and blessings. Thank you for joining in. And check our implicit bias in order to see the best in all. Miss Madison.
Yes. Hello. That is so important. I just want to jump in really quick because there's so many great things being said. I'm just like, yes. And going off the point of implicit bias, one thing I really, really love about my school, and again, I'm a first year teacher, so I'm learning as I go. And I'm also recognizing that not every school is my school that I'm teaching at. But one thing that my school is very, very big on, and I love about them, is they are so big on us understanding our own biases, so we're not projecting it onto our students. That we're not, we're recognizing our triggers, things that people may say that trigger us, because a lot of times that comes out in different ways in your classrooms, especially when you're educating children. And one thing that Dr. Bola said, I was like, yes. This is one of the biggest things that I said when I was transitioning into education, is treating kids like people. I think there's always this energy that some adults put onto kids, whether it's putting them in certain boxes and leaving them there, that meeting them where they are. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with that, but we want to push them beyond that. I know for me, one thing that makes me really proud in my classroom is my co-teacher is a Black man. And I think the dynamic in our room is electric, because you see this Black woman and this Black man, we're working hand in hand to teach these students who look like us. And one thing him and I are really big on is we're not about putting caps on our students. We are against crutches that people put on our students. Like, for example, if a student is shy, like some people don't like to speak out as much as other people do, but we don't like to tell them you're shy, so it's okay. Like, no. You're not volunteering to speak right now, but we're gonna work on that. You are going to start speaking in class, because what that does when they hear their parents saying, oh, they're shy, or other teachers saying, oh, you're just shy, they use that as their crutch. So now they're just going to sit back like, oh, but I'm shy, so I'm not going to come out and break out of that characteristic that's being placed on me. So I think that's really important too when you're an educator, is watching the words that you use, and watching what boxes you put your scholars in, or your students in. I'm saying scholars because that's what
yes.
But you have to be really, really careful with your word choices. And yes, absolutely, like Dr. Bola said and Timmy is saying in the comments, working with parents. A lot of times, some parents really don't know where to begin to help their children, or they have a misunderstanding about something. And again, it's that projection of what your thoughts are and putting it onto them. Just like our exceptional learner, that's what we call our learners with disabilities. We call them exceptional learners. And a lot of times with parents, when we're offering them resources for their children, they, depending on where they're coming from, they may see it as something offensive. Like, my child isn't, they don't need that extra help. They're fine. They don't need that. But a lot of times it's them having that own misunderstanding, or maybe when they were coming up in school, maybe seeing how those students were treated, they don't want their child to be treated the same way. But in certain environments, we're really trying to help them. So a lot of times we have to give parents grace as well. As a teacher, I'm learning very quickly.
Yes.
Parents? Sometimes parents need to give teachers grace, and teachers also need to give parents grace, because a lot of them are learning as they go. And I'm just in awe of parents, because that is not an easy job. And being a teacher is also not an easy job. So if we work together, we can bridge that gap. I love when parents will come to me and say, oh, Miss Alomar, such and such wasn't doing X, Y, and Z at home last night. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z at home last night? Your mom told you to clean up the room.
Let's work together. Let's work together.
But you now need to go erase your room and clean up your room when we're teaching. So whenever that partnership is taking place, you see it in the progression, in the growth of the student. So I really love making those connections, and having those relationships in my classroom are super duper duper important to me, because it translates. And how the students see their parents treat you, it also shows up in the classroom. So
yes,
I think that's super important.
There was a comment right before, I think Maria was just saying out there, a lot of them, that was powerful. First of all, Shannon, this is your first year, but you're already like, you got it, boo. So like, imagine 10 years from now, those kids gonna be crying. Like, Miss Alomar taught me, and I'm the greatest. That's what's gonna happen. But Maria,
I hope for life. I just want to grow.
What? You already. Maria's saying, shout out to Maria. That's my cousin. What up, boo? A lot of them don't get the attention, love, and motivation at home. They need more great teachers like you guys that actually care.
Yeah.
And Miss Madison says sometimes the parent don't know. It's you. Ooh, we're gonna get into that. It's a generational cycle. Thanks, Dr. Bola, for lifting the support for parents. We got so many parents on here, and I wanted to ask a question. We're a village, educators, students, and parents. I'm gonna read that again. We are a village, educators, students, and parents.
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey Morrow says we need more intelligent Black women like you, brilliant lady. In the American public schools. Thank you all. We are a village. We're holding it down. Systematically, division keeps our children feeling like they are second class. We just love y'all pouring in. Representation matters.
Yes, it does.
Listening is very, that's one of my, I feel like that's something I want to say right away. My mind said one of my skills that I want to continue to master. There's such a gift in listening that transforms. Culturally, parents may have not graduated. It's layers, sis. We have to start with a strength-based acknowledgement of the parent hard work, then offer additional help. So I want to jump in and ask Dr. Bola, what are some, I guess, tools that, as we have parents on here, educators on here, of course, mothers, maybe even advisors on here, on ways that we can connect more with our parents and bridge that gap where we know that we're working together?
Well, parental involvement is very important. I know that we always say parental engagement And that's fine. I mean, if you have the potluck and you invite them to the potluck and you invite them to all the shows, and that's great. But how much of the involvement do you really include parents? I'm talking about in the curriculum. Okay, I'm talking about even in the way that you set up your classroom. I'm talking about just, you know, in the way that you set goals for the student. Are parents aware of those goals? Are you even asking parents, what are your expectations? What would you like to see your child achieve at the end of this quarter, at the end of this year? Having that two-way communication is very important. Another thing is realizing that I know that a big thing over the last couple of years was homework, for example, right? How much homework should we give? Should we not give homework? Should we, you know? And I always say, you know, homework is a form of not just reinforcement, but it's also a form of communication to parents, letting them know what the child is learning. They are not in your classroom. They don't know what's going on, and it's a form of communication. Now, do I believe that you should have a child should have so much homework every single day that they're tired? No. I remember that as a classroom teacher, what I would do is give a bulk of my homework on the weekends. And I had a rationale for that. I did that because a lot of my parents told me that they work during the week, right? And on the weekends, they can actually sit down with their child and really, you know, get to see what the child is doing and help them and support them. So that was something that I had to switch. So for me as a classroom teacher, everything that I did revolved around my students and their families. I could not do this work without my parents, without the families. I could not. And I really, really want teachers and parents even to understand that the students are watching. They are watching the way you treat each other, and you are the example of how adults can work together for their benefit. So please, even in this time, I know it's stressful. Trust me, I know. And we're all learning as we go. But the children, they can internalize our frustration. So instead of us, you know, griping at each other and all of that, let's just come together and make those small steps, you know, to help the children achieve more, but work together. So for me, I'm just saying that communication is key, and how we communicate is key.
Whew.
So, yeah.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. White saying, I am also an educator, and this podcast has given me the extra motivation that I need, and it lets me know and validates why I got into the teaching.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that
yes.
part. Teaching field to
I'm
be
happy
graded.
about that. Yes. Because sometimes we can be so distant, you know, like so weary. This job is very tiresome.
Miss Bobby, excuse me. Yes,
Yeah.
said Bobby's the woman.
Yeah, okay, Bobby. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It could be so, you know, tiresome. But I think that when we reflect on why we're here and what we're doing, and make the students the focus, I say that all the time. I always make the students the focus. Then I don't know, it just does something to you. It kind of like helps to re-energize your purpose and your why. Yeah.
Amazing. Y'all see why I had Dr. Bola on here to just set it, break it down all type of ways. Sit with her. Thank you for sharing, for giving your insight, your experience. And I'm sure you have so many more to share. We'll definitely love to have you back again. Yeah. Y'all, we have 10 minutes left.
That's it.
Timmy says, thanks, Shannon. I think that's what's missing, parents and teachers working together. Yes. Yeah, I feel like that's the goal that we got out of it. Queen Bobby said, I can definitely relate to everything said. You all are mirroring what we live on a day-to-day. You guys are great. I did want to share. Thank you so much, Dr. Bola. You are answering that now. Thank you. Y'all are awesome. teachers tend to call homes more often to discuss a child's behavior than they do
Yes.
to celebrate. Oh,
that is something my school is so against. They said, do not just call home to say such and such was acting out in class. Call home and send messages to say, oh my God, such and such is so great in reading room today. They solved this math problem today. I saw them really shining through, because a lot of times you set that precedent of I'm just calling when I have something to complain about. But when you start to call or make those connections, and like Dr. Bola said, when you start to have that connection, it's going to be a natural flow of you just calling home to congratulate that child, because now you're seeing how that is affecting them in the classroom. And then they're going to want those calls all the time.
Well, think about, think about the bill collectors, right? Think about the telemarketers that keep calling, right? And you're looking like, oh no, I am not answering this phone today, okay? I know exactly what they're gonna come nagging, right? Or trying to get me to buy something or do something. And you have to understand that if you don't, you have to make deposits before you make withdrawals, right? And so parents have to understand that you really do care, and that when you do call, like I used to tell my parents, I will never call you about a behavior problem, because that I will definitely take care of in the classroom. So you will never get that from me unless it was really, really bad, but it can't even get that far. So I don't believe. So parents already knew, that when I do call, it's going to be something joyful. It's going to be something, because you don't know what's going on after that parent hangs up the phone.
Yeah.
You have to think about those things. So, so you have to keep it as positive as possible. Or like I would also suggest is doing the sandwich. Right. So you have a couple of compliments. You may squeeze a little room for improvement. Right. It's never dire. It's just a room for improvement. And then you end it again with something positive. Woo! Because you want them to take away something positive. Because that might be the only positive thing they get to hear that week or that day. So do that sandwich, do that compliment sandwich. It works. It works.
I was waiting for that gem right there, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say, like, not always say, yes, this is a conversation. I like to say English is not my first language, dance is, but I'm constantly given a platform to talk. So maybe it's something about talking that's great. And just to getting people together. There was a comment that my mom had. It's very difficult teaching in any school system, but we need more brown-skinned teachers, especially males. Talk, mommy. Males, brown-skinned students working with parents is key. So I'm going to jump into our question that we didn't get to on 7 minutes left. So if we can wrap it in about 1 minute.
Okay.
For everyone, and I want to start with Wendy, and it just goes into, wow, it's just so much. So before I say that, let this not only be us talking, take away something and let it only be action. So instead of, we're not just only having a conversation, that we're educators. After this, we have 15 more. Oh, thank you.
Okay.
We're trying to rush it all in. Shout out to the Rances Union. Shout out to my brother Logic. I've known him for like 15 years. He got us going live, and we appreciate you. Thank you. I was like, all right. Okay. Let this also, thank you, Miss Madison. Let this also take away from this. We love having conversations like this, especially when we meet together with your queens. We'll leave like not feeling great. Everybody has to do their part. Yeah. We may have a bad day, a weird day, and we come together and we leave here like, I could do everything. And it's true. Shout out to Laura, man. I worked with her. She's also an educator as well. Shout out to Nefertiti. This was beautiful. Thank you, queens. We appreciate y'all. Connect to the kids and celebrate them. She's Laura Manhill, an amazing, positive light worker. There's two beautiful girls. We thank you for the work that you're doing. We're here. Where is your school? My son needs to be there. Right? We need to exchange info. I'm not sure who you were speaking to, but all of us. I want to have Wendy. So let's get into the question. And if you have anything you want to jump in and share as well. I know we've been vibing, but you can start off with the question was, if you had a school, what would it look like for all of us to answer that? Right? If you had a school, what would it look like? Feel free to write down in the comments as well, beautiful people. What would it look like?
And if I had a school, kindness would be key. We would stress kindness. We would stress, I mean, I'm telling you, because I mean, if you look at the world today, I think a lot of things could be solved. Not everything, but basics. Just be nice. Just be kind. Also, just because I think that also comes with a level of understanding, like trying to understand someone who's different from you. Growing up, one of my brothers is actually autistic, and I just remember, you know, when we did go to school with him, the kids just being like, "Oh, he's weird, he's different, he's funny." I was raised in Alabama, but I don't sound like I'm from Alabama. Some people say they can hear the accent. I'd never really had an accent, so I used to get picked on because I was different because of the way I talk. And so it's kids, you know, like kids, anything that's different, they understand, you know, like that's what kids do. But I think if I had a school, it would just be open to people who have disabilities, you know, just being, you know, open-minded, learning more about someone who doesn't have the same ability as you do. And to not look down on that, but also see that as something that is a benefit, to learn how that person lives or how that person sees the world. I feel like having the two worlds come together and not seeing it as an issue, but as a benefit would be a part of my school. I would also treat my teachers and staff very well, because I do believe that if you take care of your staff will take care of your people or your business. And I think in a lot of schools, some teachers, they're overworked and underpaid. And that's probably why we have a lot of holes and gaps in the system. So I would start there. I would start with, you know, staff kindness and being learning about different abilities, different cultures. That would be a school of mine.
That's I love how thought out it is, and just how you even started with kindness. Such an informative platform. Hi, Elle. That's one of my sisters. I just got all my family and friends up in here. I love y'all. One of my sisters, Elle. We have this secret pack called HWMP. We ain't gonna tell y'all, but shout out to my HWMP crew up in here. But Wendy, just talking about kindness right away. Simple, diverse, kind, respectful, respect, patience, understanding, motivation, a well-round. Yes. How about you, Queen Shannon? What would your school look like if you had a school and grounded learning system?
Oh my goodness. So I know I keep saying this, but I feel extremely blessed that I'm starting off my education career at the school that I'm at. I interviewed at different schools, and for whatever reason, well, not for whatever reason, I know it had to only be God, because I had such a strong feeling that I had to wait and see what this school decided to do with me. And that is the school that I ended up at. And I feel like a lot of the things that I wanted to see or I wanted to be a part of in a school going into my career is what my school is providing me. I said for me, my education philosophy, one of the biggest things that I wanted to focus on was teaching and encouraging the whole child, not just what they're learning content-wise, not just prepping them for tests, not just, you know, making sure that they can regurgitate information. I wanted to make sure that they knew how to be good people. Just like Wendy was saying, I wanted to inspire them to be community leaders, because that's something that was so important for me growing up. A lot of my mentors instilled that in me, as well as my mom and my grandmother. And I saw somebody mention it in one of the comments, is having children advocate for themselves. I'm so big on advocacy, and it's something that I wanted to insert into my classroom. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, you know, I want to have this go on. So even having those moments where a scholar may not know an answer, I and my co-teacher and I, we make our space so that they know that it's okay to say, I don't know something and I need help.
Nice.
Because I think a lot of times wherever kids are coming from, and even adults, sometimes we think it's not okay to ask for help or it makes us look weak or whatever it is. But I like them knowing, like, you can ask for help. It is okay. It shows that you want to grow. It shows that you are interested in whatever we're talking about and you want to be able to add on to that conversation. So my school is really providing me a lot of those standard things that I wanted to see. And of course, it's not perfect and we can always grow in things that we do. But I think that's something that would be really important to me in my own school, is that, you know, playing to the whole child, making sure they know how to advocate for themselves and accept differences. Just like Wendy said, a lot of what Wendy said is what I relate to. And my school is a school that's really big on providing a community for kids with autism. So right now I'm also working on my master's so I can be certified in teaching, you know, both populations of students that are in our classrooms, and they don't separate them. They don't have like this class is for exceptional learners and this class is for the regular education or whatever it is. In my school, they're all mixed together. And the kids know that if someone's a little bit different, we're going to help them out. Like, we're not going to judge them. And that's something that drew me to my school. So I think if I was just building upon what I already see, I would definitely want to have more of those moments, like Dr. Bola said, with the parents, and not just the teachers kind of taking on that responsibility of reaching out, but having them involved in the curriculum or having them involved with those different intricate details. Because at the end of the day, whatever we're teaching in the classroom, we want to make sure that it is feasible for it to continue at home. And just like we mentioned, if a parent doesn't know what their child is doing or what's going on, they can't continue that education.
Exactly.
So that's something that I would really want to have, aside from the parent association where they kind of help do different social things for the kids. I would want them to really be involved in that element of it. Because for me being a teacher, I'm not a mom yet. You know, one day in the future, I'll be a mom. But right now, you know, I got kids in my classroom. But you know, I also want to know what that perspective looks like. And you can only know that when you are reaching out to that side of the table. So.
Thank you for sharing, Shannon. I'm bringing my kids to your school. we have a few minutes left. I do want to hear what your school will look like, Queen Bola. But again, shout out to everybody who's on here supporting us. We're gonna be back on here talking about rites of passage on this Wednesday at 6 p.m. So please definitely save it on your calendar, put an alarm. We want you here having this discussion. You'll see how all the discussions are connected. And it's just going to be so powerful. And getting into a Kwanzaa celebration, Laura Manhill says, yes, the whole child, so important to have space for them to uncover who they are. Yes, a school where his history would not be a part of the narrative. Mental health, it will be a part of the curriculum. Meditation, I'm going to have a therapy room. We're having a meditation room up in there, dance studio, art studio. We're having a black male teacher up in the school, guidance counselors. We're praying in the morning or doing affirmation before we close. All of that. Queen Bola, take it.
Well, everything you all said, wonderful school. I think that it is going to be a comprehensive, amazing school. One thing I just want to add, just to wrap it all up, is that it's going to be student-centered. And that's exactly what we've been talking about. Student-centered, culturally responsive, you know, and so we're going to include the families. Teachers are going to be reflective in what they're doing so that they can make changes according to what the students need. So, and it's going to be a joyful school. We have to bring the joy back. It's going to be a joyful school. So, yes.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Bola, thank you for being here. Shannon, thank you for being here. Mickey, I know she's here as well. Wendy, thank you for being here. This was amazing. This was powerful. Thank you for our audience as well. Thank you again to the Ranters Union. We will be back on Wednesday talking about rites of passage, what that is from childhood to teenhood to adulthood, from being a young boy to manhood. What are the different steps? Have you been in a rites of passage program? What does that look like? We are Your Queens. Check us out at yourqueens.com, on Instagram at Your Queens Inc., Facebook, Your Queens Inc., YouTube, Your Queens Inc. We love you all. We thank you. This was amazing. See you Wednesday, 6 o'clock. And then next week, Wednesday and Monday and Wednesday. And then the following, all the way to December 16th. Love and light.